This is not a BMW. It doesn't come with a walnut trim, ambient lighting, or a button that says eco. And thank God for that. Because this is the Toyota RunX RSi, built not in Germany, but here in South Africa, where the roads are pothole filled, fuel is expensive, and drivers are completely insane. In the early 2000s, while the rest of the world was drowning in boring silver sedans and marketing buzzwords, South Africa went rogue. They said, let's build something that sounds like it belongs on a MotoGP grid, drives like it's late for a fight, and terrifies German engineering. And that's exactly what they did. They took a humble Corolla hatchback, yes, the same car your aunt used to pick up groceries, and shoved a Yamaha 1.8 2ZZ GE engine. It was the same engine used in the Celica GTS and the Lotus Elise. But here, it wore turquoise buffet and had a grunt. It made 141 kilowatts in a car that weighed less than a Woolworths rotisserie chicken. That wasn't power, that was controlled violence. The kind of violence that made Golf GTIs weep and Civic VTECs develop identity issues. Sure, the MK4 GTI had a turbo, but it also had more body roll than a mattress store on Black Friday. The Civic B16A had soul, yes, but less torque than a cheese grater. And the Sentra STIR, brilliant, but about as common as a polite taxi driver. The RSi though was different. It wasn't available in Japan, not in America, not even in Australia, where they think everything with a spoiler is sacred. It was only available here in Mzansi, and that meant it was ours, built for our roads, our people, our chaos. There were no driving modes, no lane assist, no auto stop start, just use 6 gears and an engine that sounded like a chainsaw being exercised. At 6,200 RPM, something magical happened. The VVTLI kicked in. It wasn't subtle. It was like being rear-ended by a jet fighter. 1 second you were cruising along, the next thing you were questioning your life choices in 3rd gear. And then, just to prove they'd gone fully mad, Toyota SA released an RSi TRD. Only 210 were made. I'll make a video on those. They had stiffer suspension, TDR wheels, red stitching, a shorter gear shifter that felt like it was loading a shotgun. It was a Corolla on meth, amphetamine. Yes, the interior had hard plastic. Yes, the suspension was stiff enough to realign your spine. And yes, the fuel economy was about as forgiving as a Johannesburg traffic officer or a cold drink. Without a cold drink, I think South Africans know what I mean. But then none of that mattered because you were screaming down the highway at 8,000 RPM with your foot welded to the floor and the VVTLI howling like a Zulu war cry. You knew you weren't driving a car, you were taming a lion. The RunX RSi wasn't for everyone. It didn't try to be. It was loud, it was raw, it was a middle finger to conformity. It was a middle finger to the system. And in a world increasingly built around silence, compromise, and emissions regulations, which are necessary unfortunately, and in a world built on silence, compromise, and emissions regulations, it stood proudly as South Africa's last naturally aspirated war cry. The RSi didn't just leave rubber on the road, it left a legacy. Toyota RunX RSi, built for South Africa, bred for the red line, still loud, still proud. This was the ultimate South African icon. Sharp, sharp of it.